Serious complication for Alcaraz in the Laver Cup. Carlos Alcaraz faces this week the Laver Cup, where the European team is going to have a last-minute rival that greatly improves the chances that the weekend rest of the world block presented. Carlos Alcaraz will face this weekend in San Francisco a challenge that is not official, but that has already become a fixed date on his calendar in the final stretch of the season, the Laver Cup. This event, which pits Team Europe against Team World, has in its short history been the scene of unforgettable moments, such as Roger Federer's retirement in that edition in London where he said goodbye in tears holding Rafa Nadal's hand. However, over time it has lost some weight and is no longer that war of two worlds it once was. Nevertheless, the lineup is top class and the world number one is the main attraction. Already in 2024, Alcaraz took the event by the hand and gave victory to Team Europe with a masterclass, and this time he will try to repeat it. After not playing in the Davis Cup last week and saving himself a surface change, he will debut as world number one in San Francisco. Alongside him, under the debut of the new captain, Frenchman Yannick Noah replacing Swede Bjorn Borg, who until now held that role, Carlitos will have the help of German Alexander Zverev, Dane Holger Rune, Norwegian Casper Ruud, Czech Jakub Mensik, and Italian Flavio Cobolli. A group with many guarantees, though missing one presence, Jannik Sinner, who is still not debuted in this competition due to lack of agreements with the organization. However, it's not at all unlikely that he will eventually join in the coming years. But even without him, the Europeans are favorites against Team World, which nevertheless added a key piece at the last minute. The gap between the two squads seemed wide, with the block captained by American Andre Agassi, who takes over from John McEnroe. The leader will be another American, Taylor Fritz, and alongside him, Argentine Francisco Cerundolo, American Alex Michelsen, Brazilian João Fonseca and another local player, Riley Opelka. However, they suffered several withdrawals along the way, especially Ben Shelton and Tommy Paul, who were supposed to play in San Francisco, as well as another American reference, Francis Tiafoe. Still, at the last moment they signed a name that changes the color of the team, a world top 10, the Australian Alex de Minaur, who will be the main partner of the world number 5. At an event in Madrid, Nadal was clear: you have to enjoy the moment, which is brilliant, and keep working to meet goals, improve, and train every day with the desire to be better at something. Because, even if you are the best in the world, there is always room for improvement, and that should be the daily motivation. A recommendation that encapsulates the philosophy that led Nadal to win 22 Grand Slams and become a legend. What's interesting is that this advice contrasts with the one Roger Federer gave Alcaraz some time ago. The Swiss recommended dividing his career into 5-year blocks, thinking in the medium term and then replanning. A much more structured vision. Rafa, however, sees it differently. 5 years is not short term, it's a lot in tennis, because at any moment everything can change drastically. The important thing is to enjoy the day-to-day and to have short, medium, and long-term goals. In other words, Federer spoke of planning and patience, Nadal spoke of intensity and the present. And the truth is that Alcaraz's career seems to move between those two visions, taking care of his long-term projection, but not forgetting that in every tournament he must give it all, because opportunities don't always return. The advice arrives at the perfect moment, just when Carlos must prepare for the hardest part, maintaining his number one in a packed end of season, with Laver Cup, Asian Swing and ATP Finals where Sinner and other big rivals await him. And beyond that, with Australia already in his mind as the big goal for 2026 to complete the Grand Slam set. That's why Nadal's message is so powerful: enjoy, but never stop improving. And if anyone knows what it means to reinvent yourself tournament after tournament to stay at the top, it's Rafa. Now the big question is, will Alcaraz follow Nadal's advice and be able to sustain this rhythm to become an even greater legend than the big three themselves? Sinner's plan to dethrone Alcaraz. The Italian revealed after the US Open final that he was going to reconvert his game. Sinner was clearly outplayed by Alcaraz, even on the surface that suits him best, fast hard courts. And the Italian admitted it bluntly: he has improved. The things I did well in London, he did better today. I felt he was doing everything a little better, especially serving and with clean shots. A hard blow for the one who, until a few weeks ago, was the world number one. But Sinner does not hide. Just minutes after losing, he already had his next step clear: reinvent himself. I'm even going to try to lose some matches, but by trying new things, by being more unpredictable. That's my goal, to become a better player, he confessed. And there lies the key. Many see him as an almost robotic player, flat shots, constant rhythm, an impossible wall to break. But with little magic. Against most players that's enough, but against someone like Alcaraz, who combines power, variety and creativity. That predictable game is not enough. That's why the Italian is already thinking about introducing serve and volley, drop shots and variations that take him out of his comfort zone. Something he doesn't do naturally, but knows he needs if he wants to compete toe-to-toe with immersion. His team knows it too. Last year, before the ATP finals, they visited Radek Stepanek, a net play specialist, to improve his aggressiveness. It wouldn't be surprising if they worked with him again now that the big goal is to regain number one and finally overcome the Alcaraz barrier. While Carlitos prepares for the Laver Cup and then a key Asian swing in his defense of the throne, Sinner has decided not to be distracted by exhibitions. His next stop will be Beijing, the same tournament where last year he lost the final against Alcaraz. There his revenge plan will begin. The rivalry is set, an Alcaraz who has just found maturity thanks to Ferrero, and a Sinner who seeks to reinvent himself so as not to always remain one step behind. Two opposing styles shaping the present of tennis, and who, according to Patrick Muratoglu, could repeat the Federer and Nadal story. Until someone else dares to interrupt them. Can you imagine a tennis legend saying that today's circuit has surrendered to Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner? Well, that's exactly what Boris Becker just did. The German, former world number one, has hit out harshly at the top players after seeing how Carlitos and Jannik have shared all the Grand Slams. Becker is clear: Zverev, Medvedev, Rublev, Rune, Fritz, Ruud. They all settle for being second or third. They don't fight hard enough, they accept that Alcaraz and Sinner are better. And he sent a direct message: reaching quarterfinals or semifinals is not enough if you want to be the best in the world. The former champion even gave the key: to compete against them you can't play the same way, you must be more aggressive, change strategy, not get into long baseline rallies. And he assured that only Auger Aliassime tried something different against Sinner. The criticism is harsh and leaves a question in the air: has tennis been left in the hands of Alcaraz and Sinner because no one else dares to challenge them? Carlos Alcaraz is living a key moment in his career. At just 22 years old, he already has 6 Grand Slams and has regained the world number one after winning another US Open. But beyond the titles, what defines the present of tennis is his rivalry with Jannik Sinner. They have already played 5 finals this year and a total of 15 direct clashes, inevitably recalling golden eras like Federer and Nadal's. Carlitos sums it up with humor: I see you more than my family. But behind the joke lies the reality: these are two players pushing each other to the limit and shaping a new era. It hasn't all been easy. Alcaraz has had to face even tensions with his coach, Juan Carlos Ferrero, which according to Patrick Muratoglu have been necessary to achieve balance and the best version of the Mercian. At the same time, Sinner is already preparing a plan to dethrone him, looking to step out of his comfort zone and add variety to his game. This shows that the battle is only just beginning. The historic voices also weigh in. Nadal, the ultimate reference, advises him to enjoy the day-to-day and never stop improving. Djokovic, for his part, admits how tough it is to face Carlitos and Sinner in long matches, though he promises not to give up. And Boris Becker launches the harshest criticism, accusing the rest of the circuit of conformism by accepting the dominance of the two youngsters without really fighting to take the throne. The immediate future is demanding: Laver Cup, Asian Swing, Masters 1000, ATP Finals and the Davis Cup. All under the pressure of maintaining number one and with one clear goal in mind: conquering Australia and completing the Grand Slam. The inevitable question remains: will Carlitos be able to sustain this reign, or will we see Sinner deliver the definitive blow?